New at 6, consider this before you give this holiday season. For yet another year, millions of dollars in donations didn't go to actual charities, but instead went to paid solicitors.
Yeah, that's some food for thought there. North Carolina's Secretary of State released the annual charitable giving report today, and our Nate Morabito analyzed that data and found most nonprofits handed over the lion's share of donations to private fundraisers.
The report shows overall more than 80 cents out of every dollar raised went to charities, the highest percentage since the state started tracking this. But we found most nonprofits aren't getting nearly that much. When the phone rings and a paid solicitor asks for a donation, Better Business Bureau President and CEO Tom Bartholomew says his response is always the same.
I would never, ever make a contribution to a professional promoter that's calling me on the phone.
The BBB sets a baseline for nonprofits to take home at least 65% of all money raised. But the newest North Carolina Charitable Giving annual report shows most organizations receive far less. Professional fundraisers raised $47 million from people in North Carolina from July 2021 through June of this year, up from the prior year. Secretary of State Elaine celebrated the fact that more of that money than ever before went to actual charities.
By any metric, the news in this year's report is fantastic. Overall giving increased by 40% from last year's report, and charities' effectiveness hit an all-time high.
But the data suggests most organizations have struck unfavorable deals. Just look at the percentages laid out in the report. Some charities received no money. Most of the charities listed took home less than half of the donations raised.
When you look at it for just what it is, out of context, it is a big number.
As we first reported in September, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Fraternal Order of Police, for example, has long received around just 25 cents out of every dollar. Described as a 50-50 split after fundraising expenses and a promotional coordinator gets their cut. Tens of thousands of dollars, President Daniel Redford said the charity could never raise on its own.
If it's an opportunity for us to re-explore how we can capture more of that money, I mean, we're all for making changes that are going to benefit us.
Still, he said police would welcome the chance to negotiate a better contract with their paid fundraiser if possible. After all, the money raised goes to help buy school supplies and holiday gifts for vulnerable kids, which takes us back to Bartholomew's point. Donors' dollars go farther when you give directly to an organization.
It's really that person that's answering that phone and saying, yeah, okay, this sounds really interesting, something that I'd like to support. I'm going to go to their website directly and make my contribution.
According to a 1988 U.S. Supreme Court decision that originated in North Carolina, when talking with potential donors, professional fundraisers are not required to volunteer how much they themselves collect, only if they're asked. That's why you should always ask for that information before you make the decision to give. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.